Hello and welcome back to From Within She Rises. Today we are dropping into what is our first episode of The Woman Who Ends Eras, or The Woman Who Burns Worlds. I don't even know what I'm calling this at this point. And our first quote-unquote season is going to be about mythical women that end eras. So we're going to go over a few beautiful goddesses and mythical women over the next several weeks. And today we are going to be talking about the archetype that the church tried to bury. The woman who ends eras, right? That energy that stands at the threshold between illusion and truth. Some actually know her as the Hindu goddess Kali. Some know her as a woman clothed with the sun in Revelation. Some know her simply as this force that's inside of them that refuses to look away from corruption. So this episode is about destruction as a form of deliverance, about that holy feminine that burns away what was never real, and about why this moment in our collective timeline right now feels like the exact collision of Revelation, prophecy, and the Kali archetype, and how they're so intertwined. So before we get started in the nitty-gritty, you know the drill. Let's drop in. If you can, I invite you to close your eyes, and we're just going to inhale in through the nose for 4, holding it for a second, and exhaling very slowly, like you're letting the old version of yourself dissolve. Just feeling into your feet beneath you, grounded on the floor. Feeling your belly safely expanding in and out with each breath. And bringing that attention back to the ground beneath you, as if the earth itself is just inviting you into safety and into truth. On your next breath, imagining blue flame rising up from the ground into your body. This is the flame of clarity, discernment, and holy destruction. Let it move up your spine. Let it collect every illusion on the way up that you've been carrying. Let it show you, even if it's for a second, that ending an era is not violent, it's actually sacred work. And when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes and come into the space where you are. We are going to talk about Kali, and specifically, why does Kali matter right now? I want you to know that Kali is not a monster, and she is depicted as one for a lot of people. But Kali is a mirror. She's that part of creation that refuses to let delusion keep breathing. She's the moment that the lie collapses under its own weight. And I think, collectively we're seeing a lot of those things come to rise. We're seeing a lot of lies coming to fruition, or a lot of people trying to cover up lies, and it just being like so obvious that they really suck at covering up lies. And whether you speak Hindu, Christian, mystic, atheist, whatever your spiritual flavor is, we are in that Kali moment right now. You're witnessing it on social media posts. Sometimes you're witnessing it live on press conferences. We'll just leave it at that, We're witnessing it collectively. We're witnessing it individually. We're witnessing this spiritually. This is that archetype that is, it's enough. Enough corruption, enough distortion, enough spiritual gatekeeping. It's just enough pretending. We're done. We're done with the bullshit that is happening. You see the corruption, and you're finally willing to wipe the slate clean, purify it in fire, if you will. And this is where my first recording went wrong. So this is why I literally just spent the last hour editing the episode that I was going to put out today. Of course, that's like my signature move, to wait until the last minute to do that. But as I finished editing it, I was like, no, this part is missing. This part is sacred and this part is missing. So I am recording this all over again. We're going to let it flow, because it was a revelation that came through as I was creating that little reel for you guys last week. And it was the day after I had recorded my Kali episode. And now I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, no, we need this. So I'm recording it. I'm hoping I can still pump it out by, I've got an hour and 20 minutes to do this. So let's pray, guys, right now. But anyways, this is where I got it wrong, because I cut out, but I hadn't had the click in my head about Revelation. I mean, I've always known that Revelation, the book of Revelation, to me is not punishment. It's about exposing the lie. It's about exposing the illusion within yourself and collectively. But this is the part that needs to be shared. I didn't click about the woman that was in Revelation and Kali until after I recorded this video. So here we are. The truth is, the same energy that people call end times, the same energy that they see in that book of Revelation, is the exact same energy that Hindu mystics recognized in Kali. And it's so beautiful once you start to bridge these gaps, where so many traditions and so many religions have a lot of the same overlapping themes, overlapping archetypes, and we don't even realize it. Kali, that end times energy, is the great unmasking. It's the collapse of false power. Sound familiar? Like, it literally, she is exactly what the book of Revelation is, except we've been taught to think it's going to happen as a physical event, instead of realizing that there is an unmasking spiritually and collectively that we need to have, and individually. And she really is the removal of the illusion that darkness ever had authority over us. Whether it's within yourself, like the more shadows you repress, the more power they have over you, the more they're controlling your everyday moment to moment decisions. Let's talk about Revelation 12. That woman that's clothed in sun, a cosmic feminine force confronting the dragon, the distortion of empire. This is that same archetype. It's the same archetype as Kali. It's confronting the demon. I'm going to butcher this name, so we're going to try anyways. You're welcome. We're going to try as my daughter cries in the background. Hopefully you can't hear her. But this is the same archetype as Kali confronting the demon Raktabija, whose illusions replicate every time they're ignored, right? It's the exact same thing. Both stories are telling us the same thing. You cannot reform a lie. You have to eradicate it. You have to end it. You have to burn that shit to the ground. And that's the energy that it's giving. So that woman in Book of Revelation is actually Kali. It's you. It's the feminine rising in you that's sick of seeing these illusions, sick of being controlled by the lies, and is ready to find her spiritual sovereignty. And through that, change the entire collective. We have to individually build that kingdom to build it collectively, guys. So this woman that ends eras, in both Kali and the woman in Revelation 12, this archetype lives in all of us. And I mean, especially in women, right? And you don't have to be a woman, but I know a lot of women listening to this can relate to the fact that we were taught to be small. We were taught to be polite. We were taught to be digestible. We were taught to be obedient, even more so than men, because we were taught to be obedient not only to God, but to the men in our lives. And the woman that ends eras, she is not angry for anger's sake. She is the moment that truth stops whispering and just starts roaring, because she's like that mama bear energy. You know that mama bear energy where everything's chaotic and everyone's at each other's throats, and mama bear, she can just be like, enough! And it's silence. And it's like a blank slate and we start anew. You know what I'm saying. If you have children, you know. But she's the part of you that realizes, I cannot carry this old identity into this new world. We dream of this, if you're into the new age stuff, we dream of this new 5D world, but we're not willing to leave the illusions behind. We're not willing to look within our shadows and strip them bare. You can't take distortion into the new world, into the new you. You can't. And in Revelation, her presence really initiates the downfall of Babylon. It's not about Babylon. It's about it happening over and over again, because it happens in cycles. Our story as a humanity is in spirals of remembering, right? And so it's not Babylon. Now we're seeing it. Maybe it's the fall of the Roman Empire at some point. Now it's the fall of, we won't name anything. But you see people waking up and being ready to burn the illusion to the ground. And her presence is the symbol of that spiritual corruption. It's a symbol of empire. It initiates the downfall of these things, of the symbol of spiritual corruption and empire, like I said, because it's not happening just once, it's happening cyclically. And I always think it's like a spiral. So, if you've been around here for a while, you know that. And in Kali's mythology specifically, her presence ends the demon of repetition, the cycle of the same suffering over and over and over again. And doesn't that sound familiar right now? We're looping around in circles. We go from one thing to the other, thinking someone else is going to mother effing save us. Nobody's going to save us. You have to save yourself. It starts with spiritual sovereignty. Like you fall for the lies that tell you some party is going to save you, and it's actually got to be you standing up and starting to save yourself. So when you think about it, Kali, woman in Revelation 12, different cultures, it's the same principle. Okay? It's the feminine who ends the illusion so humanity can finally begin again. So how do we now end illusion in our own lives? Right? This energy is not abstract, and it is the moment you stop negotiating with the patterns that drain you. That's how you have to use it. It's when you stop spiritualizing dysfunction. I think sometimes we get stuck in that loop. It's when you stop pretending you don't see the thing that you can clearly see. How often? It's the same as, you see, and there's a reason why, to me, I've been shown time and time again. If you look at, and I know it's not just the church that people are being illuminated of, that's corrupt. It's empire, right? And they are connected. They are divinely connected. You see that so clearly in our neighbors down south. You see it so clearly that they're just, they're best friends. And I mean, it's not the first time they're best friends. They've been best friends over and over again when it's convenient to be best friends, okay? But in the book of Revelation, you see this beginning of the dismantling of illusion, and then you see people running and hiding to the caves. Those people are running and hiding to the caves are people that are not willing to look within at their shadows. So you can look at it like other people spiritually awakening to this corruption, and they grab their Bibles and they go and they hide in the cave. And I'm tying it to religion because this is where we're at in this Christian deconstruction. But it can be anyone that's not willing to look at it. It can be, you've got the political mega that is not willing to look at the corruption. It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. And I have people in my life that have gone from one side to the next side to the next side to the next side. It just depends on like where you're willing to fall for the lie that somebody else is going to save you. You have to first save yourself. You have to first look at that darkness within you. You have to stop hiding in the cave. You have to let Kali wipe the slate clean within yourself first. You can't be hoping that some external Kali is going to come and wipe the stuff out that you don't like, because if you don't fix yourself, you don't go into this new beautiful world. So you have to first raise your vibrations, right? You have to first wipe your slate clean. It's like the same thing as like a manifestation, we're doing a challenge starting, tomorrow we're doing like this big decoding of the creation story, and like the creation story is literally like a manifestation story, and how the misalignments actually like intertwine, and how you can manifest something, right? But when you manifest something out of misalignment within yourself, that's what you're calling in to your manifestation. That's what you're bringing in. So it's kind of like the same thing there. Anyways, back to the task at hand. We really have to strip ourselves bare. And if we want to be if we're manifesting this beautiful new world, we have to align ourselves to that beautiful new world. Just like when you're manifesting something, you have to align yourself to that manifestation, that version of you that holds what you want to hold, because otherwise you might manifest like a version of it, but it's not going to be what you think you're going to get because you're not looking at your shadows. So we really need to bring in that Kali energy, whether you're doing a manifestation of like something material, or you're doing a manifestation of what we should all be also doing at this point, which is manifesting this version of the collective that is beautifully united and loving. So Kali destroys what keeps you fragmented. She destroys these pieces of you so that you can return to alignment. Just like Revelation, book of Revelation, it starts to reveal what keeps you asleep, what has been keeping you asleep, what has been keeping you conformed, what has been keeping you in line. And together, when you look at Kali and Revelation, they show you that ending is not a failure. They are truly prophecies. That it's not going to collapse your entire identity, although again it will. It's going to build something so much more beautiful from it. And we really are living right now in a revelation cycle. We are. We are living in that cycle. And I don't mean the literal sense where like the world is about to set fire in a literal sense, but I mean symbolically, I mean spiritually, I mean the illusions that you can't tell me you don't turn the TV on and you think, how are these people so saying the loud, like I know this is like a very good saying that people don't like to hear, but like how are they saying the quiet part out loud? I know you've thought that in your head. Because that's where we're at, right? Illusions are collapsing. People are getting comfortable and we're becoming more aware. It's not even that people are getting comfortable. I think there have been times where the loud things have been said out loud, but we're not listening. And we are starting to wake up. We are starting to see the illusions. There are cracks in the illusions. These institutions are cracking because we are waking up. We're paying more attention. And people are being exposed right now. And also at the same time, things in you are going to be exposed. Everything patriarchal right now that was built on fear, that was built on hierarchy, that was built on corruption, we are watching this become undone. Because we've said we've had enough. Because Kali is rising. Because the woman in the book of Revelation in chapter 12 is rising. And think about it, maybe in your personal life, the exact same thing is likely happening. If you are listening to this podcast episode, it's because you are also rising. You know, if you saw this podcast and it said From Within She Rises and you were like, this resonates, it's because there's a part of your divine feminine that's ready to wipe the slate clean and build beauty from the ashes is resonating with. Because in your personal life, this exact same thing is likely happening to some capacity. So if something is falling apart right now, think about it. It's not punishment. It is alignment. And alignment is uncomfortable as shit, or we wouldn't have to do it, you know? It would be easy. You know, we'd all be living in our, whatever, everything you wanted would be like this. But we're at a tipping point collectively. We're now like realigning. At some point down the road, it's going to be really easy to come back to alignment. I think even now, like I've been doing the work consistently over and over and over again, that it's very easy. If we go back to like the Course in Miracles and calling it atonement, when something comes out of misalignment, I catch it quickly and I bring it right back, right? Because we're building new neural pathways, neuroplasticity, beautiful. And we're building these new neural pathways that make us come right back to alignment really quickly. And also supportive daily practices that do that for you. And just because my daily practice is like yoga, like physical yoga, and then Kundalini yoga, and then meditation, it doesn't mean that's going to be yours. It's really also like connecting to what excites you and what makes you feel good. And that's what coasts you into and keeping you in alignment. And I say coast, but it's a little messy. It's a little book of Revelation, you know? It is. It feels really difficult and hard to pull off all the masks that you've been wearing for your entire life, you know? It's not pleasant, but I promise you on the other side, it's beautiful. To be in that divine flow, to start to like just enjoy moment to moment, to start, you know, creating, to realize that you are the creator of your own reality. It's fun. And we think about the woman who ends eras standing inside of you now. Think about that. She's standing inside of you, helping you. And she's telling you, not this mask anymore. Let's take this freaking thing off. So that is our first beautiful burn this shit to the ground archetype. Maybe that's what I should have called this series, burn this shit to the ground. Well, I don't think that the world's ready for that. So we're probably going to keep it as the woman who ends eras, I think. Anyways, if this episode made you feel something, and if you feel like something in your life is burning to the ground, those masks are coming off, I invite you to just realize and think about, maybe meditate on the fact that maybe this is not you being destroyed. Maybe you're actually being delivered. Maybe this slate is being wiped clean. Maybe the era of illusion is ending. That era that kept you small. So thank you for being here. I've got many more episodes planned. I don't know who's next. I think it's Sekhmet. I don't know if I'm saying that right, so I will figure that out before. I also have Persephone, Isis, Hecate. I've got a lot of other beautiful goddesses that we'll be talking about. And like knowing these archetypes gives you an opportunity to be like, go start, if you meditate, start meditating with intention, you know, show me, call in that energy, show me the Kali within, illuminate the masks that still need to be burnt to the ground. Call that energy in. You know, every archetype is an opportunity for you to step in, allow that piece of you to wipe the slate clean or to cross the thresholds if you're in that Hecate energy. I love the liminal space. So we'll get into that. I feel like she's going to be my favorite because I feel like I am the walker of that liminal space, the hedge witch, and like the Hecate energy really just resonates with me, that constant death and rebirth. I think that we're doing it every day, you know, like, and it's a little bit Kali energy too, but Kali is like that big wiping the slate clean, like realizing that big moment that you're like, man, this was like all an illusion, a lot of this. And I do really feel like it's very much at the beginning of an awakening. And it just kind of is a slow burn after that. At least for me, it has been a slow burn. And I think I continue to illuminate pieces of me that are still like really deeply hidden masks that need to come off. So yeah. May the woman who ends eras rise in you, wherever illusion still tries to live. So thank you for joining me. I love you, and I will see you in the next spiral.